Look,
So
it's been like a month since we recorded. Of course we're out of practice.
we're in. I think that's the first time I've done that.
In 200 episodes. Happy 200th
Yes.
episode.
Is this the 200th episode?
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and then Itisdpayne.
That is me, Itisdpayne, Secret Service man. Not so much secret because I told everybody.
I was trying to look through our list. I don't think we have any Secret Service type movies on this list as we're continuing our series through A24. Segue.
Some of them could be. Minari could be a Secret Service movie. About how good it's about it. It's a plant movie in more ways than one to tell us how good it is to have a farm in Arkansas.
I was gonna say my best guess for things that we have already seen was Ex Machina.
Well, now they know that's on the list.
I mean, I think when we tell people we were watching A24 films,
and there was only 17. That would be funny, just to go find a movie production house and we're gonna do them for about five months, and then oh my goodness, it's 6 months. Whatever. And then find out that they only have like 4 movies.
Oopsies. But yeah, you have a fact for everybody.
Yes. This is the second episode. I had to make sure because all our scheduling things went out the window a little bit. I also figured, depending on how some things might get recorded, I might have funky hair because I just cut my hair today. And if we record one of the episodes, it's going to be, oh, Itisdpayne got a haircut. Oh, and it came back. That's right.
No, I think we're in order. I think we're fine.
No, I'm talking about Tuesday, if that happens or not.
Oh, in that direction. Okay.
But anyway, our fact is the company is named A24 after the Italian highway Autostrada 24 because this is the road that the co-founder Daniel Kratz was driving down when he had the moment of clarity about starting this company. I think I heard that before.
That's a pretty fun fact.
Not the second half, but that it was named after
the highway.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he had that epiphany.
Because then it makes the 2024 plans for us easy.
That, and I think they're one of the best people that make movies.
Yeah, right now I'd say, in my opinion, other than
actual
indie publishers, or producers, it does feel like A24 is willing to try a lot of things. Because in the 3 movies we've watched so far for this, one of them not recorded yet.
I was like, we watched 3? Hold on,
one of them not recorded yet. Like, I can see where like Minari and The Whale belong in the same like production house, and then there's
the other one we watched. There's just hold up. Well, even just thinking of other A24 films that we watched on this podcast, The Green Knight, Hereditary, Ex Machina.
I've watched The Lighthouse, and I've watched Talk to Me. Like, yeah, Talk to Me, Hereditary, and Lighthouse, I can see, like, they have similar vibes. Minari and The Whale have similar vibes. Ex Machina is kind of, like, a subject of itself.
Yeah.
Do they have it? Oh, and I've also watched The Lobster. The Lobster is also completely different.
I have to look at all their films again to remember any of them. I'm trying to find it on like, why do they not have a link to all A24 films on stinking IMDb? Hold on, but Wikipedia does. There it is. Scroll down to the thing. Yeah, a lot of these I haven't seen, but the ones that I have, and from what I heard of, is just good things. Yeah, like as I said, Hereditary, Ex Machina, um, what's Green Knight. Well, yeah, and then Minari watching that. It's I don't know. They have a vibe that they go for, and it works for me.
But yeah, so
And if you're listening to this, I guess it works for you too.
welcome. Yeah.
Welcome.
This is episode 2 where we watch and talk about, we have watched and we will talk about The Whale.
Yes.
I do feel it would be an interesting thing to like watch and talk about the movie as we're watching it, but then that I think that does better like as a YouTube video, right? Because it can be like long form and you see reactions, whereas like for the podcast, only some platforms have video options.
Yeah, if we were just a YouTube show, I think it would make sense, or just a video podcast. But for an audio format, I don't know. It's
hard to say what you just saw, then react to it, then still have a genuine reaction.
Yeah. I personally prefer the commentary of just people talking about films and stuff, rather than
live
watching
reacting
along with people. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but in any case, I know Dpayne and I already started talking about The Whale before we started recording, so I want to leave as much time as possible for us to keep talking about The Whale. But
I will say before we get into it, one thing, because for the longest time when I thought of Brendan Fraser, I would think The Mummy would come to mind first, and then probably George of the Jungle, and then seeing this, I was like, boy can act.
Sorry, I said the phrase "where you been." I know where he's been. I don't know if you know about his.
We did. It wasn't on pod. It wasn't. We talked about this, I think, last year when this movie came out, and it was just, oh, okay. And then I didn't know because I don't keep up with celebrities. I'm still waiting for an update from that dude that eats people, and
I haven't gotten an update about the dude that allegedly. That's the legally unbinding term. Allegedly eats people.
Nah, he eats them.
But yeah, I know when Brendan Fraser was put up for these awards, he became kind of like in the public eye again, and I believe he talked about how he was essentially harassed out of Hollywood, I think is the best way to put it. He was assaulted and taken advantage of, and unfortunately, at the time, people went, men can't be assaulted. So he kind of was like, I can't be in the business. And then he comes back with his debut, and it's like, such a shame.
Yeah. And I think he also had, I might be just getting actors mixed up, but I thought he also, around that same time he left, had a pretty bad back injury.
It could be possible. I mean, depends if he does his own stunts.
I think he was, at least in The Mummy and Looney Tunes and all that stuff, but I think that was the cover story of, no, he didn't get sexually assaulted. That never happened. He hurt his back wrestling Bugs Bunny. I don't know if he wrestled Bugs Bunny in that movie.
It's been so long since I've seen it.
But no, it's just I remember watching tons of interviews and stuff, or at least clips of the interviews with him, where they would talk with him, and because he's just like, I didn't know anyone remembered me and all this stuff, and then just him, and then just all these other actors that were pretty much pushed to the side from Hollywood that are now getting recognized, that he's friends with and everything, and they're all just super encouraging him, and vice versa, because he's pretty close, if I remember correctly. I'm forgetting her name, and I'm clicking it real quick. See if I can find it. Michelle Yeoh? Yao. I don't know how to pronounce her last name because
Oh, it's the Everything Everywhere All at
yeah.
Once actress. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because I remember she was getting she was, from what I heard, rightfully so, getting recognized for her performance and uh everything. I'm reading the title and I'm already like, Oy. Yeah, everything, everywhere, all at once. Uh, and they were both congratulating each other, and I don't know how their paths crossed, but he was also really close with the I don't really know. He's from what's his face? Uh, Kei Hu Kwan, the male co-actor in there who I feel bad because I only remember him from Indiana Jones
Oh, when he was a child
when he's a
actor.
child.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, but both them were were getting big, and they are.
Getting
Uh,
recognized as like full acting
yeah. Well, there was a clip.
powerhouses.
Yeah, and there's a clip where because Brendan Fraser just I don't think he from all the experience he was when I think it was when he first came back and he wasn't extremely comfortable going to these award things. And there's you can see him just awkwardly kind of standing there, just like, what do I do? And then I think it was Michelle Yeoh. There's a clip of her just, what are you doing? Get over here, like
Aw.
you're, and it was just the whole cast of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Just they're like,
Supporting him.
yeah, there's like, yeah, and he's just like, he went from lost puppy to I don't really want to be here to my friends. And so there was just a lot of wow, words.
Camaraderie.
Yes. A lot of friendships. And a lot of support it, and all that stuff going on. But yeah, we I don't know. We might bring that up because we already said other ones. But yeah, that other movie's on this list too. You think we'd be stupid not to put that on that on the
It'll
list?
just be a while. Until
It will
get to
be a
that
while.
one.
You might forget that we even mentioned it. When does that even come out? Oh,
In
that's near the
May.
end. Yeah.
Yeah. So you
So,
gotta stay tuned. Oh wait, I did a spoiler. You don't know when in May, so you have to stay tuned to find out when.
or else.
But in
Oh,
any case, with all of our other movie discussions, spoilers,
yes.
warnings.
Yeah. There's gonna be big spoil things.
Yeah, this one came out
So,
like a year ago, so very,
hmm
or 2 years ago, I guess, because it's the new year when this releases.
yeah. So, if you want to watch it, feel free to pause or whatever, and come back after you hear about it, because we're gonna be talking about multiple character arcs in this film.
Yeah, so I
So,
do think D-Pain and I did quickly discuss, and I think that's the easiest way for us to structure it, because this movie, at least to me, it's not really a, like,
I just realized I never hit record. Oh well, the Zoom audio will have my audio, but I'm gonna hit record right now.
okay, because I made you start a new one.
Yes,
Technical difficulties.
I'm just gonna do this. That way I can find that later.
Look, it's
So,
been like a month since we recorded. Of course we're out of
yeah,
practice.
we're in. I think that's the first time I've done that.
In 200 episodes. Happy 200th
Yes.
episode.
Is this the 200th episode? It is. It is the 200th episode. I numbered them all. I don't remember. I do things and forget. I
Future
that
you
might be
is happy.
hmm.
Future
Yeah,
you appreciates it.
yes. Yeah. The other part is that might just be a sign. Hey, you might do a little bit too much. And to that I say, you inner voice, you shut your mouth.
But okay.
Anyway.
From
Yes,
this point on,
sorry,
if you
cut you
don't,
off.
yeah, from this point on, if you don't want any spoilers about the different characters, because what was I saying? The way this movie is structured, it's like slow reveals, so I feel like it'd be weird to kind of go in order. So I thought it might be better to just kind of talk about each character, because I know we've done this in like other things, like when we watched Gravity Falls and stuff like that. We were like, all right, this is Dipper's arc, this is Mabel's arc, and then Grunkle stands over here.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's a lot of like back and forth too between all the different characters in this movie.
Yeah, it's a melting pot of characters.
Yeah. So I guess Dpayne, you can start a timer so we don't get completely lost.
Oh, do we want to roll a die to give who's going to give a quick 30-second synopsis, and then I'll start the timer?
Yes. I have my digital dice up on my screen.
I know we just showed all the fancy new dice that are around me, and I still picked up this Chess X.
Show off to the YouTube viewers.
Okay.
Which dice are you
guys
using
ready?
today?
Which one I'm using today?
Mm-hmm.
This one. Not one of the new ones.
Cheese.
Stinky cheese. It has no correlation with the movie we watched. It was just the first one I grabbed.
Tune in next week to see if Dpayne has different dice.
I also did not look at the number when I picked it up, and now I'm like, I should have looked at what I rolled, but I'm rolling again. Oh, I think unless you rolled very, very well, I rolled a 19.
I also rolled a 19.
What the dump?
Tiebreaker?
Yeah, and rock, paper, scissors now. Yeah. Reroll.
Okay, this time I rolled a 13.
I can see the 13, but I rolled an 11.
Okay. I thought you were going to say 13 again. I was going to be like, third tiebreaker in a row.
That would make sense for a different movie, from what I hear about it. Inception.
Oh.
I never watched Inception.
There's a spinning top.
It's also not on the list.
Yeah, that's a spinning top.
I also don't know anything about everything, because we mentioned Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I don't know anything about it. But I heard that there's a bunch of stuff, weird stuff, and it would get a multiple tie. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So the quick synopsis of this movie is you have a man who has isolated himself from the world as he's dealing with, I guess, his personal views of the past and how he views himself as a person now that everything that's happened to him. And everything is set within his apartment, where he is morbidly obese, and he learns early on that he maybe has a week to live. And the movie progresses through all of these different connections he's made at this point of his life, as well as his hopes to reach out and rekindle things before everything is done.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to add as the little synopsis?
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I feel like this is a movie that I really enjoyed. But, all right, this is what I said. I said, I think it's a beautiful movie that's really hard to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Because with Brendan
really
Fraser's,
hard to watch when you're eating dinner.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was like, I'm like an hour and 10 minutes in. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was just sitting there and I'm like, I'm hungry, but I don't think I can keep eating. And then that scene ended and I kept eating.
But yeah, like Brendan Fraser's performance, for me at least as a viewer, I was like, I hope for the best. And you don't always get what you want.
We should make a movie list or find a list of good feel bad movies. I can't think of a better title than right now. Like The Whale, I think would fit in there. After watching this, I just wanted to watch Manchester by the Sea again.
I really like Crying to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
It's on my list that I haven't watched, but
one moment.
And now I will stall for this one moment. Okay. So let's see. I don't know if I'll cut this out or not. But yeah, so anyway, for this episode, what we'll be doing is kind of choosing, I think we said this, but I can't remember. So you guys might hear me say this earlier, and this will be the second time. But we're going to go through the four main characters of this movie. Charlie, who is played by Brendan Fraser. Ellie, who's played by Sadie Sink. Thomas, who's played by Ty Simpkins. And Liz, played by Hong Chao. I hope I pronounced all their names correctly. They all have different... different. They're kind of where the main storylines fit around. and Brendan Fraser Charlie is kind of our main character. Ellie is pretty much his not pretty much it is his daughter. Thomas is a missionary that pretty much gets just finds himself in the middle of this whole thing, and Liz is the nurse friend of Charlie. And another thing about this is pretty much this whole movie was based off a play called the same title. As I open up this Wikipedia article. Oh, interesting. I don't know if they ever say how much he weighs in the movie, but yeah. So the play is written, set in the same place, Moscow, Idaho, and it tells pretty much the story of a 600-pound obese man. So, I messed up my links here. So yeah, this overall, it's just my brain died because I don't want to keep talking too much and then find out that I went too far. It was also produced by this dude. Is this the same dude who did Hereditary? Nope. I think I'll just pause here and we'll come back when Hop does.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Slight emergency. Okay. And then Strider might be scooting soon too. So, well,
No problem. It's all good.
I think we were right at the point of starting to chat about the movie.
Yes. I pretty much all I did was I introduced the characters and who plays them.
Okay.
And then I couldn't. My brain was like, I don't remember how much we said. But
all right. Which character would you like to? Would you like to go shortest character arc to most complex character arc, or most complex and then least complex in case I have to scoot?
I think we should just start with Charlie and then and then from there fill in the blanks with everybody else.
Okay.
Because I think Charlie has the most central story that will be easier to explain the inner working connections of everyone else.
Sounds good. I guess I'll kick off by saying, yeah, we gave the synopsis to say Charlie has basically isolated himself from the world. So, yeah, he's working as
I started the timer.
Okay, he's working as an online instructor for, I would assume college-level courses.
Yeah.
For writing and English. And he's kind of doing the very formal way of, like, you have to keep revising, you have to keep editing, and you have to, like, write with meaning and everything like that. And you get a glimpse of kind of how much he isolates himself, because people start making comments about how he never fixes his webcam for him to teach his courses. And then you get a look at him, and the opening scene is, as A24 likes to do, is very much in your face of Charlie is having some private time and gets walked in on by the character Thomas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was just the start of a very bad week for him.
Yeah, so does this start on is it Saturday or Sunday? Because each day is kind of like shown as text at the bottom of the screen as it moves throughout the story.
Let's see. I thought it was a weekend. I can't remember.
Okay. But yeah, so through Charlie's point of view of things, we learn.
See if I can find it.
When it comes to Charlie, we basically learn about how he doesn't expect people to show up to the point where, like, he leaves the front door unlocked, and, like, that's how characters are kind of introduced throughout the movie. They come in through the same door, and that's kind of like their stage left entry cue, where he tells anybody that's knocking that the door is unlocked. And then through this so that's when you first meet Thomas, who meets him, and he tries to spread news and try to hand him pamphlets and everything like that. And sorry, because I ran off to help with the rabbit, I lost it.
All good.
And then Liz shortly.
Yeah, Liz shows up a little bit afterwards.
Because the movie kicks off where Charlie clearly looks like he's having, like, heart problems. He's struggling to breathe. He's clutching his chest, and he's, like, wheezing. And it's repeated over and over for people to get him an ambulance, and he says no. He's going to contact Liz, his nurse friend that takes care of him.
It's also at this point the first time where it shows as a coping mechanism that he has this essay, that he reads, and he can't read it, and it helps him calm his heart and everything, kind of just get everything back in order. And he asks Thomas, read this, and he's like, are you sure? And he's like, just read it. Just read it. And then
he says that it's the last words he hopes to hear if it's his end times,
because
you can tell Charlie is kind of like, he's assuming each time his chest constricts, that's his heart finally giving out.
Yeah, he's very fatalistic, but also like wants to see the best in people at the same time, I guess, is a good way. And I think we see that later.
Yeah, he's very negative and very, like, self-loathing and very
self-deprecating to himself.
Yeah, but when it comes to other people, he's like, if I can do anything, I'd like to give to others before I leave. But yeah, so then we meet Liz, and Liz is clearly a nurse, has nurse training, has access to materials to try and get them to Charlie. And Charlie clearly expresses to her that he'd rather be in debt, or rather never be in debt, and is like, I'd rather just keel over. And she's like, no, it's better to be in debt than to be dead. And he's like, no, I can't afford it, don't take me to the hospital, it's expensive. So she you see that she tries to accommodate for him and what he needs, but she's also got a big soft spot for him, right? So as much as she is concerned about his health, she brings him over like a big old bucket of chicken.
Yeah, and she's not happy about it either.
Yeah, she begrudgingly does it.
Yeah, there's one thing in my notes I saw here that I wrote. It was about the essay with because it is revealed at this point that between Liz and Thomas that Charlie has had a boyfriend who was killed by the church that Thomas claims that he's from, New Life Church. But it's
Liz's brother as well, and that's their connection.
Yeah, that isn't revealed yet, but that comes later. I
thought it was.
I think it's hinted at, but I don't. It makes it very, very clear. The
second lecture.
Yeah, a lot later in the movie, it feels when they just spell everything out, in case you missed it. But, but yeah, pretty much I wrote, this essay, I think is either written by him when he was younger, his dead boyfriend, or a possible child.
I was leaning towards dead boyfriend because they do use some clever word techniques throughout it to subvert expectations.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that.
And I want to say, rereading my notes, and I didn't look up anything about this movie. I was like, yeah. But anyway, yeah, so, and it's also at this point where they give the first reveal that they're from Idaho. It's 2020 because there's multiple times, the first of many times where we hear about the election, or at least the primary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the Republican primaries, yeah.
Which I just want everyone to know, me, who is a registered independent, is now getting Republican primary stuff, and I can't vote for you.
Yeah, please, I'm not allowed at the primaries.
And let's just say one candidate, if they get far, has already lost my vote.
So then we follow it's Liz and Charlie after Liz and Thomas were discussing things, and then it's Liz and Charlie, and then we see that Charlie clearly finds enjoyment in food. Like, we don't see him enjoy anything other than reading/writing and food.
Yeah. And there is another important thing about this point, because Thomas is still here. Because it was just making me laugh, because it was just, Liz is like, go, we don't need you, and Charlie's like, no, he can stay, and she's like, no, you get out of here, and he's like, I think I should leave. No, you wait here. And it's just like, Tom's like, what should I do? But it's also in this opening scene where they say that his blood pressure is 200 something over, like
238 over 140 or something like that. Like something like he could get on medication and be monitored at a hospital and potentially like stable out, but he's still choosing otherwise. And
I was like, me, just like Charlie in the film was, I don't know what that means. And then they tell you in the next day, because I think I want to say that was Sunday, or it was Saturday or Sunday, and then the next day is...
He's like grading papers at his kitchen counter and starts Googling.
Yeah, because he opens up and he's like, "Ooh, Three Musketeers." He's like, "Oh, okay."
He does like the battle, like, I shouldn't, but I need it, but I don't want to, but I kind of like need it. And
I feel that scene right there explained how the rest of the movie was going to go for me, because it was like, okay, if he doesn't eat it, it's just, is he going to try to recover? But he pretty much looks it up and just finds out that go into the hospital. All this stuff is required, and pretty much when your numbers are that bad, it's pretty much an extreme case where it's fatalistic, and he's just at that point just has a breakdown, binge eats I think like Three Musketeers, or maybe there's only two. He eats them very fast, which I don't like chocolate, so I'm just like, okay, bud, you do that.
But then he does still angrily slam him in the drawer. Like, he's not like
he's not
he's
just,
coping.
Yeah, he's just, and he knows what he's doing isn't great. And so, but at that point, we kind of learn pretty much he has to do. Yeah, it's this whole thing where he's just like, okay. And at this point, he's also walking around in a walker, and he's very slow. I think also before that scene, I'm jumping around a little bit, but it shows his night routine because Liz kind of tells him, okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah, so he wakes up on his own and then starts to...
It's his night routine.
To bed.
Yeah, well, shower and then everything. And while he's quoting the essay.
Mm-hmm. When he's heading to bed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so then I believe... I'm trying to remember. Is it... I think Ellie comes over?
I think this is when Ellie comes in.
Yeah, so then we find out about his daughter, and through a bunch of various dialogue, we learn that he had left his daughter when she was about 8 years old, and he, in her words, left for a kid, because she says it was one of his students. But that's why I was like, he teaches high school, or college. Not high school, college. Yeah. So, like, he was younger than him, but not, like... illegal, I believe. But yeah, so Ellie admits that she remembers everything and is able to describe to him, like, I remember the exact moments you ruined the family. And you kind of get hints that, like, he's trying to be a father figure, and she's very against it because she's like, you were never there, why does it matter? So then it gets to a boiling point where he's like, I'll pay you.
Yeah.
And he tells her that there's $120,000 for her. And then she goes, well, you also have to help me pass high school. And he's like, okay. And he sees it at that moment. You can see in his eyes, he's like, I can bond with her, and uses his teaching moments. But also, he's aware that he's dying, and there's not enough time to actually form a connection again with her.
Well, he also, I think, at that point, he tries to tell her, I tried to ask every time I tried to talk with your mom. I always wanted to know how you were doing, and she would always just say she wouldn't give me anything. And so, but yeah, because that's when, yeah, as you mentioned, she tells him, doesn't matter, because he asks, why are you here during this hour? Just, well, I'm suspended from school, and I'm failing English, so it doesn't really matter. And he's there is a quick I think reaction to that sentence where he's like, you're failing English, which and then finds out why, because she doesn't want to write a paper reacting about some I don't remember the poem.
Walt Whitman.
Yeah, and
Songs of Myself.
Yeah, and then she pretty much says what she thinks, and he's like, why didn't you write that? And she's like, no, because that's not going to get me a grade. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, well, I think if a high school student wrote that gives more insight and awareness of the literature than probably most people, because she plagiarized, saying that she just went on Wikipedia and just copied and pasted pretty much
a bunch of facts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he does try to tutor her. Like, he tries to explain why he's marking things, and she just goes, you write my essay for me, I'm not gonna do it. And he tries to, like, fight it off, and then she shows very negative behaviors of her acting out and doing things, to the point where Thomas at one point interacts with Ellie, and they cross paths, and then Ellie concocts a whole plan about what she's gonna do with him. And says, come back tomorrow.
Thomas shows up because Charlie wants to talk with her, or Charlie to talk with
him.
Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also Ellie is leaving about the same time that Liz arrives, and Liz is like, "What is she doing here?" So like all of these intersecting parts of his life are all at odds.
And he's like, "I just wanted some quality time.
I wanted a chance." And then we get the slow reveals about like what happened to Charlie's boyfriend and how Charlie sought comfort in food. And that he has these goals of like he's trying to see the best in people and help them, but it seems like everybody's just pushing him away.
Mm-hmm.
The only other character that comes into play is his ex-wife.
Yeah.
That does come and visit and tries to deal with things because Liz brings her over, and at that time Charlie has been drugged by his daughter with Ambien and a turkey sandwich. So when I say she exhibits toxic behavior, she do that. And then it all ultimately Charlie spends time with his ex-wife, and his ex-wife gets mad at him because she makes a connection that he's dying and that he's refusing to help himself. And when she's like, a reoccurring theme, why don't you call an ambulance, why don't you go to the hospital, and he keeps repeating, the money is for Ellie. And then his ex-wife is like, you know what, no, I'm done. And he's like, I just wanted to be there. She's like, you're so selfish. I have an evil daughter. And
which is gonna, I don't know, just thinking about that and knowing what we're watching next week. Just the irony.
Yeah.
Did not realize that when I
ordered these.
Suggested this.
Yeah. But yeah, so she basically is like, I was protecting you from her this whole time. And then he's confused by it and everything. But I also believe Charlie was seeking closure from a lot of things, and he doesn't get it because, again, it is kind of a whole, it's been years kind of thing.
Yeah,
and he's trying to fix things in like hours.
Yeah, that scene in the beginning, and then him on the search, I was like, okay. And then I think it was the day that he meets that Ellie is introduced, and then he has a conversation with Thomas because Thomas is trying to convert him, where it feels there's a lot of things in this where from what I've heard a couple different plays, or at least modern plays, where I feel they do this where some characters get told the same thing to them over and over and over, which Charlie is told the same, as you were saying multiple times, is told him over and over and over. And when we get to Thomas, we can kind of say the same things that he's told over and over and over by every single main character.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has that conversation, and then I think it was after that my brain put it together. It's just, okay, he's dying, and he's trying to do the checklist. He's trying to get through and make sure that all his everything he wants. Because what was it? Because with his conversation with his wife, it's at that point we can talk about Thomas and Ellie's whole little story arc in a bit. But when he finds out what she did, the reaction to the way his mom, Ellie's mom, and Charlie react to what Ellie did is completely different, because the mom, who is there the whole time and is tired of it, is, as you said, I have an evil daughter and you just aren't helping, while Charlie looks at this and he's seen the good in her, and I think he even says a line, she might not have intended it to be good, but she is doing good.
Yeah, it's essentially his final day where he comes to that realization, because Liz is like, are you hallucinating? Like, she's like, do you have a fever? Do you see things right now? Because he starts rambling when he makes that connection. The other big thing for Charlie is kind of also, he has a large monologue with Thomas, because Thomas comes in, and I was like, the audacity of this man. Yeah, so, oh, wait. Let me back up a little bit. So there's the wife, and after the argument with his wife, he feels as though he's ruined everything that he was trying to work on the last few days, So he's been getting pizza delivered to him like secretly, so that the pizza delivery man never sees who he is, but he does end up seeing him once at the end of the movie.
Which is the final straw after Liz rats him out to his wife. Ellie drugs him. Thomas, there was something that also happened with him in that whole scene.
He was being homophobic.
Yes. And there's just all these things just all piled up on that one day, and then it's just the final straw because throughout the whole movie his name's Dan, the pizza guy, and he's just like, hey, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, because I think the first time we hear Dan talk is or at least have a conversation, I think Charlie's crying.
Charlie's like, it's in the mailbox, and like he cuts it off, and then like the second interaction he's like, my name's Dan, by the way, I'm here often. And then Dan sticks around because he gets curious, and then his reaction is like, oh. It's like, and he just runs, and that was the final straw for Charlie. Yeah, he proceeds to binge eat because he knows that his final days are due to his weight, so he tries to stop his heart sooner.
Yeah,
poor guy.
That much ranch should not go on double stacks as a pizza.
But yeah, he eats himself sick essentially, and then that leads into his final day. But yeah, the thing with Thomas that I forgot to mention is that Thomas has decided he has a message and that he's there to save Charlie because he found Charlie's ex-boyfriend or previous boyfriend's Bible that had a section highlighted.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and then Thomas construes it in such a way, and it causes a monologue for Charlie where Charlie's like, admit that you're disgusted by me. And then Thomas like cracks and he's like, yeah. And then it's that's his straw.
Yeah, as I wrote here, that's not the way to share from using a church terminology, the gospel with people, by telling them that their lover died because they dated him. And it's sin. It's like I sat there and I'm like, I know people who would do this, and I have a problem with it. People don't know church background, all that stuff. So it's just watching Thomas, and when we learn a little bit more about Thomas, it's just okay. It makes sense.
He's young.
Story-wise, why he's doing this, but it's just
he's young and driven, takes him in bad places. But so then we come to the final day of Charlie, where Charlie
walks.
He's clearly at the final stages. Liz is like, this is it, and Ellie has her moment to have a bad has the realization hit her, because she goes through, she's like, can't you get surgery, can't you get pills, can't you? And he's like, no. And so he asks for his final words, which is the essay. Oh, and then we also learn that the essay is her essay.
Her essay, yes.
Because she complains that she got an F
because he
her
turned
poetry.
That essay in. Yeah, because when the climactic situation where his wife is yelling at Ellie, and she's like, just get out of here, you're making things worse. And he's like, wait, your essay here. And his mom,
she just yoinks it.
Yeah, she's just like, just grabs it and runs. And then when she comes back, and he's just like, I failed. He's like, you didn't read it. And then it's as you just said,
reveal.
And he's like, it's the best thing you ever wrote.
He gets his final. He gets to hear the final words read by her that were written by her, and I believe they said like back in the 8th grade. And it also revealed that he has cared, because she's like, how do you even have this? Because we weren't talking when I was in the 8th grade. He's like, I asked your mom to send it to me. And it's, his favorite essay he's ever read. He also, in his final days, got himself fired from his job.
Yeah.
Because he asked his students to write something honest, and there were some heartfelt things about, like...
It wasn't just honest. To write something effing honest for once in your life.
And kids basically used it as a confessional booth, which he thought was beautiful. But so it's just a lot of Charlie trying to grapple, and he doesn't regret his life, but he regrets the choices he made when he was excited by love. Because he thought, also the thing we learned about Alan, his ex-boyfriend, or now deceased boyfriend,
yeah.
is that
that's a better way of putting it.
Yeah, he had committed suicide, and that Liz and Charlie held the weight of that, and that the reason that Liz blames the church is because the church abandoned him for being in love with Charlie.
Yeah. Another thing, so Hoff was telling me some 1-star reviews from people who I don't think. But one of the other, I think, underlying messages, or the underlining traits of just how Charlie treats himself, it's not very well hidden. Because I don't know. I noticed it. No, but Charlie, as we mentioned earlier, has a very low opinion of himself, and what that comes off as that we see is, I'm not spending the money, I don't have any money, and it could on face value of just being, hey, I don't want to spend this money because I don't want to go in debt, all this stuff, and it's for Ellie. And I think something else that I think Ellie realized, well, it doesn't really go into it, but my headcanon, I like to think what really starts getting through to her, because it's not that as soon as Alan was out of the picture for him that he lived his life just in complete pleasure and doing whatever he wants. It sounds that from what we're able to put together, as soon as Alan died, as soon as he passed away, he just became a recluse and just did not leave the house and everything. And to the point where even when Liz finds out how much money it was, and she's like, you could have helped me fix my truck when I was getting your groceries. And this other thing where I do believe that Charlie would have helped. He just didn't know, but the story he was telling everybody was that he has no money.
Yeah, and then he also said the phrase, if it was an emergency, and she's like, yes. Why would I assume that was a big enough emergency when I thought you had like $70 to your name?
Yes. Yeah. Which, yeah, she didn't bring it up, but his whole life up to this point, because I believe at that point, there's an agreement between Charlie and Mary's his ex-wife, between the two of them, that once Ellie turns 18 and graduates and is out of the house, all his money would go to her. Mm-hmm. To where, if you look at his life, yeah, he eats a lot and everything, but he eats a lot of cheap fast food where it's just $20 a night for this, for rent to pay for that. He's not going to the hospital because he doesn't want to dip and all that. And I believe he's looking at his life and everything as very sacrificial to. He's like, my life doesn't matter. He's
trying to make it up by some means.
Yeah, like where he wants, and he's definitely all the money's going to his daughter to help her, but I believe he's definitely looking at this in a frame of pretty much, I made my choices and I'm going to die. It's earlier than I wanted it to, so I need to change the original agreement. Not so much that she knows, but that at least he can just get to know her a little bit more. And then once he sees how much she's struggling from her own decisions, he changed it. Like he just like, no, because he even says it to Mary when she's leaving, just like, I just want to know that I made a difference, and I wanted to help. Like, I can't remember the exact line, but he's like,
one of the lines he says is, I want to know I did one thing right in my life.
Yeah, and she's like, no, you didn't, and we don't see the after effect of that, but yeah, it's I don't know. I like the story with no clear ending because he wouldn't know, but
because it's told with him as the focal point of the story.
I guess real briefly we can just go over I think we covered Ellie's kind of storyline alongside with Charlie's.
Yeah, I think if we talk about Thomas, then that'll cover.
Thomas.
And then we kind of covered Liz's.
Yeah, I think Liz and Thomas, their story B, because a lot of their stuff kind of overlaps a little bit. Because Liz is very hostile towards Thomas every time he's on screen, because it's from New Life, and as Hop mentioned earlier, Liz's brother, who was Charlie's boyfriend, committed suicide because he was kicked out of the church and looked down. And Liz is constantly telling Thomas, "You don't know what's going on with New Life. Like this is everything on there." And she's just like, "This is BS that you're coming here. Like, who's coming to Idaho from some wherever to do all this?" And she's like, but Liz is also an adult that has to take care of another adult child. That isn't really helping, making her situation easier. But it's just, I felt so bad for Liz this whole movie, man. It's just, she's so tired just from work and then coming home and
she's basically like she's a nurse 24/7 because she's like on night shift, and when she's not there, she's making visits to Charlie. And then you mentioned that she gets really hurt because she's like, "I didn't know you had all this money. You could have been taking care of things. We could have ordered you more stuff for the apartment to help your health, etc., etc." And he deemed it unimportant. And her big struggle, she mentions, is like she already saw one person die in her life that she cared about, which was her brother. And mentions that like she had come in, was like, "Please eat something, please take care of yourself, please like live for something," before. And then she says that she had to identify his body. And then Charlie's like, "Yeah, but I wasn't considered family." And Liz is like, "Please, it's not." We can both have trauma, right? And that's another thing that's like a really complex thing about Charlie, because Charlie at this point is, selfish isn't the word, but he's really focused on his personal gripes because he knows it's the end of his times. And other people are like, "I'm not telling you these things because I want you to like tell me how you feel. Like, I'm telling you how I feel." Because like that's part of the argument he has with Mary, his ex-wife, where she's like, "I've been raising her all these years and it's been really hard." He's like, "Well, I would have helped. I wanted to help." She's like, "No, you didn't. Don't tell me that now. You just wanted to know how she was. And I told you she's fine because like, you know, it's hard." And and then like, so Liz with the money, Liz with her brother, Liz seeing another person in her life die. And she kind of makes it clear that she doesn't have a lot of people because she's been cut off from the family as well. Because she decided she didn't want to be part of the church because she was adopted in. So she's already like double other.
I will say, I hope Liz has a pretty happy post whale story.
That she gets a chance to have time for herself. Yeah.
Well, now she's gonna have a lot of time for herself. But it's because that's the other thing where it's easy to get frustrated with Charlie because it's very much everyone is invading his world because he doesn't leave the apartment, and so he's just, my world is, and the fact that he still has the bedroom of Alan and all that. But anyway, Liz she gives that, but multiple times every character says this to Thomas. I think this is a good time to switch over to Thomas briefly because we did hit the 30-minute mark. But I think it's different for each character, but both Ellie, Charlie, and Liz all confront Thomas. "Why are you here? Do you think he likes you? Do you think he's gonna have sex with you?" And Thomas is just like,
"I don't want it. What? I don't want it."
He's like, "Wait, what? Why is everyone saying this to me?" And he's, in his mind, he's definitely, I believe he thinks that he's trying to do that. Well, not, I don't think he is. He believes he's there for a divine purpose. And he believes he's doing the right thing. And just, one character is very hostile towards him and tries to ruin his life. The other one doesn't want him here because of who he's claiming to be with. Yes. And Charlie is just, I think he's just trying to be like, "Why do you believe this?"
I think Charlie's trying to persuade him to reconsider who he gives his life to.
Yeah.
Because like the guy's like, because Charlie says, like, aren't you a little young to think about the end of the world times? And Thomas is like, well, I like the idea of everything being replaced. And he's like, okay. And the guy's like, and then they discuss, like, the Bible and how Charlie's perspective is, like, it's very limiting, it's very restrictive, and it's not what the new life people make it out to be. And Thomas is like, no, you don't understand. And Charlie's like, no, I read it.
Yeah.
I know what I read.
It did make me laugh a little bit where Thomas, he reads that verse that is very pointed towards it, where it's showing that Alan is very tortured about the decision he's making and his own faith, because
and his abandonment from his family and everything.
Because it's revealed that Alan was a missionary, and then it's before he met Charlie. But
more than a missionary, he was basically set up to run the church in that area.
Yeah, I thought this, missionary, and then he came back, and then he just wasn't the same, and then that's somehow him and Charlie's paths crossed. But it's just...
no, he was a student at night school.
That's right. And then it's just, he says that verse, and it just, I'm not laughing because of the way that I'm just, oh man, I know people that would do that. And it's just, he doesn't see what he's doing, because he wants
to save people, because he has, so the whole thing with Ellie is Thomas has that whole, he eventually admits to it. Ellie's the only one that catches on to him, because Ellie is like, I know you're lying. And she ends up basically bullying him into admitting the truth of the matter of what he's really doing there. And he basically says, like, I didn't feel like I was doing enough, so I wanted to be more hands-on, and I wanted to save individual people. Which is, like, great if the other person's willing. Like, right? Like,
yes.
Mm-hmm. It has to be, both sides want this, and not him forcing another person into it. But yeah, so he feels empowered to do this for Charlie, because he's like, oh, Charlie's dying. This is my case. This will prove that I can start my own mission and break off. And then Ellie blackmails him, and again, we don't know the true motivations. Even Charlie is like, I don't know if she was hurting or helping, but he gets to go home again.
I don't think we were ever supposed to know the true motivations.
Which is fine. That's how it should be. It's messy.
Yeah.
But I just mean for listeners, like, whatever Ellie was up to, she sent pictures of him smoking pot and a recording of him admitting to stealing money, and his family said, come home.
Yeah. Because I think what the person at the mission or whatever he was working that he had problems with was just saying, it's just money. Come home. And he's all excited that he's able to come back home and everything, to where he has one final shot and just, well, really ruins himself. Not ruins himself, but does... excuse me, the wrong thing. It's, as someone who grew up in the church and did go down the path of being a pastor and all that stuff, I know a lot of people who do act like Thomas, where they believe they're doing the right thing. But as you said, it's one thing I've told other people in different words, but it's just, you can't force people. You can't argue. And this is a problem I have with some people in my own faith, where they try to argue people into belief. And it seems when I tell them, well, if you argue people into belief, you can be argued out of it. And they're just, what do you mean? I was like, never mind. But it's like, I'm a Christian and have faith and I believe, but it's the same time where if you're just bashing your belief on over someone's head all the time without understanding where they're coming at as a person and everything, it's not going to end well. And that's pretty much, when I was seeing that, I've heard stories and seen people who have done pretty much what Thomas is doing, where he's only focused on
proving himself.
Look at how good I am. Look how good of a servant of God I am, and not so much trying to meet Charlie where he is, and loving him as a person. because even when Charlie pushes him and he's like, "You're disgusted by me" and all that stuff, and he's like, "Yeah," and it just,
"You're gross. You're a sinner. You need to be saved." And Charlie's like,
"Yeah,
I knew it."
Yeah, it's like, all right, get out of here. So, and that's another thing where it's just, Thomas, it just, one of the things I am interested about is how, if this was close to how the play is. I am interested now to see, like, if there's
a live production.
Yeah. And just seeing how different it is or anything, but yeah, I don't know. I'd assume it's pretty close, if anything, because once I realized it was a play, I was like, okay, I can see the scenes.
Yeah, like when I was watching it, I was like, it's like watching a play, and then like I said, the end credits came through.
I was like, oh, this makes sense. But yeah, that's pretty much. I can't think of really. I think we covered pretty much
the whole movie.
Yeah, but it was a little bit different where we talked
character focused sections. Yeah,
but that's kind of what it is. It's
a character study.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, my bladder is suddenly really full, so I don't mean to rush this, but I will say, tune in next week as we, as you made the joke about toxic evil daughters, we watch Hereditary again.
Yeah.
The two of us have watched it at least for the horror rankings.
Yeah. And
now we'll have a special guest.
First time guest, K to the J, who this was the hardest movie to get a guest for, and he came to mind. I asked him, "Hey, would you be interested?" He's like, "This is one of my favorite movies." I'm like, "Cool."
Oh, cool. So we'll get real deep into analysis then, because we're all watching it.
Yes, this will probably be at least fourth or third or fifth watch. I don't know how many times you watched it, but yeah,
it'll be my third.
I think it'll be my third or fourth. I can't remember. Somewhere around there. I guess one quick thing that we won't go too far into it because then it, all the stuff. But thumbs up, thumbs down. Recommend. I don't remember how we were doing this.
Yeah, because we weren't giving rating numbers, but yeah, I would recommend this movie to people if you let the movie breathe. I think that's the tip I would give it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if you're going in this expecting something really showy, this is not the movie you're in the mood for then. But if you just let the movie breathe and you really pay attention to how, like, if you could put yourself in the shoes of any of the characters and go, wow, that's messy, what would I even do? Then I think you would really enjoy this movie. Because everybody, if I was in the shoes of any of these people, minus Thomas, I don't really relate to Thomas very much, but I can see myself being like, maybe I wouldn't put Ambien and steal drugs, but maybe I would be defiant.
No, I would. I'll put more. No. That's the character. I'm like, I don't think I would be able to do that. I think I'd just show up and be like, nah, I'm good.
Peace.
Later. But, no.
Yeah, I would give a thumbs up to this movie.
Yes, same here. Thumbs up. Definitely worth watching. Just be aware what you're eating. Because just make sure whatever you're eating, you finish it before the second half of the movie gets there. So.
And don't eat pizza.
I could go for some pizza right now. But anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Next week, Hereditary. Oh.
Subscribe, leave likes, reviews, share with friends, leave ratings.
Oh, we did have a comment. Yeah. It was from the Anne and the Apocalypse episode. The comment was, "Thanks for letting me on the show. It was a lot of fun. Can't wait for the next one." It was Maddie.
Yeah, I do have to reach out to her again once things get a little bit less hectic.
Yes, Maddie is also coming on the show again. So if you guys like that, we'll have our babysitter here the whole time again.
All right. Bye, guys.
Yep. Thanks for watching. Peace.